Did you guys know that Gen Alpha can't read?
My child is in the 2nd grade and can't read.
I teach 7th grade. They are still performing on the 4th grade level.
If you haven't heard, America's education system is in a state of crisis. We're talking about a country that's supposed to be a leader in innovation and progress. But when it comes to education, we are lagging way behind. The latest figures show that around 40% of our 4th graders can't read at a basic level, the highest percentage since 2002. That's right, just under half of our 4th graders aren't proficient in reading. We're spending more money on education than most countries, but we're still falling short.
Hello. When you listen to those reports of the literacy crisis, and this is bad and this is bad, it is hard to hear. As a teacher, my heart just leaps to my throat. And if your child can't read or is a struggling reader, then you know how serious the literacy crisis is. And I want to come to you with the approach of a can-do attitude. We can solve the literacy crisis because we have the ability to teach reading. Now, the problem is, I want you to listen to the school teachers that are teaching in the upper grades and see her response as a teacher, why reading is so important. This is why reading is so important.
I teach 8th grade history, and I have 110-ish students. 2 of them are reading on grade level right now. 18 of them are at a kindergarten level. 55 of those students are between a 2nd and 4th grade level. We were doing guided notes, supposed to be a real easy day. It was review. They wrote down Maryland was founded as a safe haven for Catholics. It was on the board. They wrote it down. And before we moved on, I call on a student and I ask, hey, where were the Catholics one more time? And these students, what they do is they look at me, and then they look at their notes, and then they look at the board. They look back at their notes. And some of them never answered me. They never figured out the answer. It was wild. And I kept giving them hints, like rephrasing the question and saying, like, it's in your notes. We just wrote it down. We just wrote it down. Where are the Catholics? It's on the board. And they never got it. They can't read their own notes. And I don't mean their handwriting. I mean, like, they can't make heads or tails of it on the page. These kids have a frightening ability for information to go from their eyes to their hands and not pass through the brain at all. What do we do, y'all? That ship is sailing across the ocean and there is no one at the wheel.
And this teacher cares. She literally tried her best by writing the notes on the board and having the students copy them down. And the problem is the students never connected the writing of the words to how they're pronounced. Because when they're taught to read and taught to write, it's 2 separate classes. And this is how the problem can be corrected. See, there's always a solution if you understand what the problem is. And the solution is going to need to be that every teacher needs to become a reading teacher. Now, for that to happen and for it to become an actionable habit, because most teachers in school expect the kindergarten, first, second, and third grade teacher to have done their jobs. And if those teachers fail, how are the teachers in the upper grades supposed to fill in the gaps? Well, I submit to you that every teacher who has reading as part of their curriculum, which every class does, they need to make sure those students can read whatever is in their books. And I want to show you how it's possible, because any text can be used to teach a student how to read. But there are things that you need to teach them first, You need to teach them how to link the sounds the letters make to the way they are pronounced. Now, Dr. Phil raised the perfect question.
And speaking different languages real quick. But when it's English, it's like, oh, doc, that's where it's hard. That's where it's difficult because they have problems with the vocabulary. Does that make sense? So that's what they mean.
Yeah, because it always drove me crazy when I was trying to explain to my grandkids how you pronounce tour like a band going on tour. You pronounce for as for and sour as sour, but they're all spelled O-U-R. There's 3 different pronunciations. It's S-O-U-R, T-O-U-R, F-O-U-R. Only difference is the first letter, and they're pronounced 3 different ways. And my grandkids are saying, okay, explain this to me. I'm saying, no, I don't think so. I need to go.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you how. Look at this multi-letter phonogram. It's 2 letters together. Now, most of the time we teach CH and SH and maybe OW, but do you ever think about OU? It has 4 sounds, and I want you to hear the sounds. Ow, like a mosquito bit me. Oh, I got him. Ooh, he's on my hand. Ah, get him off. Ow, oh, ooh, ah. Ow, oh, ooh, ah. I want you to write those letters. If you're driving, write them in your mind. Ow, oh, ooh, ah. Ow, oh, ooh, ah. I'm presenting this to you as the method of teaching reading. You teach the sounds the letters make. If you're going to expect the student to analyze whole texts and comprehend whole things, why not teach them how English works? And then any word that you come across can be used to back up your phonics teaching. Phonics is your friend. I want to be your phonics mentor. I want to help you, give you hope to train your children to read. And I said train because reading is a learned skill. If you are training for any sport, you go through the drills. What is more important than life? We need to go through the drills of learning how to read. And guess what? Once you learn how to read, you can continue to learn the rest of your life.